This is a public service announcement, but it could save somebody's life, so listen up. The story I covered last night of the double murder that took place in Brooklyn, that killer committed suicide by cop. So that changes what's going on with that particular story, but it does not change what took place. Hopefully you can watch this clip, learn something, pass it on to a friend, because we don't need tragedies like these to continue. We got a father and a son that are dead, and now we have the killer that's also dead, and all of this did not have to take place. Shout out to India Lynch on Facebook, who let me know there was an update to this story. It was a shooting, a double shooting in Brooklyn at a apartment complex. But this occurred on Sunday about 10:30 at night. The downstairs neighbor was fed up with the noise that was coming from upstairs. I am now getting reports that the killer in this story may have been mentally unstable. That does not change my commentary or my advice in this story. In fact, it may make my advice more important. And from the video footage that I saw, he went upstairs to confront his upstairs neighbors. And when the video starts, he's talking to a woman, the wife of the family that he was knocking on the ceiling for. Okay, so he's knocking on the ceiling, he goes up, I don't know, when I saw the film, it cuts on, he's talking to her near the stairwell. And then the husband comes out. The husband comes out and he's pissed off. By this time, he has on a white t-shirt. I heard there was another clip that shows he goes back in the house. He comes out first, he has no shirt, then he goes back in the house, and then he comes out with a shirt on. And he walks right up very aggressively to the smaller man that is pictured here. And he has in his hand, what you can see here, I guess you could see it. He has a pair of scissors in his hand. That's what you were seeing earlier, a pair of scissors, okay? So right here, stop, don't scroll. It was a pair of scissors in a guy in a white t-shirt. So the guy in a white t-shirt is confronting the smaller man who's by the stairwell, okay. And they're arguing about noise, and according to this is not a new thing. So that is the woman, that is the wife of the now deceased husband and son. She lost her husband and her son. And there goes the assailant, the murderer, right there, shooting the husband. As you can see, the husband's back was turned. He was trying to get away, okay? He shot him in the back. This guy. My understanding is that they captured the killer, but here goes the victims of the killer. I got two names. Vladimir Mathurin, who was 47 years old, and 27-year-old Chinwe Modi. And that's son on the right, dad on the left. Son on the right, dad on the left. They both lost their lives. And here we go. This is a better representation of what I was talking about. So, dad's right there in the middle of him. You see the scissors in his hand. He's talking to the downstairs neighbor. They're beefing. They're not having a good conversation. But you can't hear anything because there's no sound in this video. And mom tries to get dad or her husband to come on away. Leave it alone. Let's go. It's just, you know. And when he does go to walk away, that's when the shooter starts shooting. So the shooter shoots him in the back. Shooter shoots him in the back as he's leaving. And then the son tries to escape by running past the shooter to get down the steps, and the shooter shoots and kills him. This is the deceased dad, 47-year-old Vladimir Mathurin. This is the apartment complex where it took place. And we're back to square one, guys. We're back to square one. So that's everything I have on it. That's what took place. An argument over noise in an apartment complex. banging on the ceiling with probably a broom or a hammer or something. And here's the thing, guys, we probably all been in this situation. If you've lived in an apartment, everyone's, at some point, if you live in an apartment for any amount of time, you're gonna end up with neighbors that are loud. At some point, right? You have neighbors that do things, and this is a reminder on how you need to handle those situations. I remember when I was living in, I lived in a number of apartment buildings over the years when I was coming up. Our first apartment building was in a city called Landover, Maryland, known for people getting busy. I mean, people not being left alive, okay? And I never really had a problem there, but I also knew that people got busy there. And I knew people will shoot and kill you. I want to remind everyone that a lot of people have guns in America. And you walking up on somebody, you wanting to exert dominance over somebody, you going to someone's personal space. I don't care for what reason. You could be right. Understand what I'm saying? You could be right to approach someone. They could be totally wrong. They could be rude. They could have said something to your girl. They could have been disrespectful or whatever. But when you approach someone in an aggressive manner, you are taking your life in your own hands. You never know the mental state of the person that you are approaching. I don't care what the reason is, dog. It don't matter. Their mind is wherever their mind is. Your mind is where your mind is. They ain't thinking about you the way you're thinking about you and your kids, or the way you're thinking about you and your wife, or the way you're thinking about you and your life. You understand what I'm saying? So when you approach somebody and you walk up aggressive, like you got some stuff you want to get off your chest, and you got something in your hand, and you're going to stand there and you're going to tower over somebody and talk smack to them, like I said, you could be right. In this case, I don't think he was right, but I'm going to give that to you. What I'm trying to tell you is that you're taking your life into your own hands. That's all I'm saying. My condolences to the family. My condolences to the family who has to live without dad and without a son. That's tough. That's horrific. That's unimaginable pain. I had 2 sons. You know what's worse than losing a son? And I can only imagine this because I've been blessed not to have to experience this. But I can imagine something worse than losing a son. You being the reason why you lost your son. Yeah, you being the reason why you lost your son. If dad would have kept his ass in the house, son would have went in the house. I don't care if my son is 34, he ain't, but if he was. I got a son around, he's not quite 27, I think he's 25. If I'm gonna deal with somebody who's coming upstairs, he pissed off, I'm pissed off, I'm not gonna have my son in the hallway dealing with it. So there's a lot wrong with this situation. There's a lot wrong here. Grown man in the house, do man in the house stuff. So I'm not seeing how this was handled correctly at all. And if there's a situation, why is your son out there dealing with a grown-ass man from downstairs who you've had beef with for over a year? Why is son in the hallway? Son's supposed to be in the house. Why is wifey in the hallway? Wifey's supposed to be in the house. Why are you in the hallway with something in your hand, walking up double, triple time, walking up fast and quick like you're going to do something? And you know what? When you walk up on somebody quick, fast like that, like you in a hurry, like you in a hurry, like you're trying to get busy, and they don't flinch, you're supposed to be thinking, hey, why wasn't they flinching? He wasn't flinching because he had that I get busy in his back. This is so heartbreaking because this was totally avoidable. There was no street sense in this. None. There was no street sense in this. Dad violated on many levels in this video. And I'm just talking about the dad right now. I'm just talking about the dad right now. This ain't about his dad wrong to confront the guy who came upstairs knocking on his door. This is about what dad had to do with what I saw holes in what dad did. And what dad did lost dad's life and his son's life. Now we gotta talk about dude coming upstairs. Man, when I was living in one of the buildings I was living, I think it was in Capitol Heights at the time. Yeah, I was in Capitol Heights. A place called Fox Club Apartments. Some people might know it. Over by Oakcrest Towers. Any of my Prince George's County, Maryland people in the house might know about this particular spot. I had an upstairs neighbor who was loud. Loud for no damn reason. And I know people say you're supposed to let the authorities handle it. I never felt good about letting the authorities handle stuff like that because I don't want to get the kids locked up, the younger people locked up. I was in my mid-20s at the time, early 20s, something like that. I was 20-something, I think. But I wouldn't want to be responsible for cops coming to your door because they could smell some weed, there's somebody up there got a warrant, or something else go wrong, and now I got to live with that. I got to live with whatever happens upstairs with those cops. So I'm going to handle a situation like that very delicately because I know I don't want to call the cops, even though they say that's what you're supposed to do is call the cops. Yeah. But also, I can't lie and say I never banged on the ceiling. It was dumb. It was dumb to do. I was in my 20s and it was still dumb to do. But when you're young, you're not thinking about, well, maybe you are. I did think about it. Maybe I could do something that would, get me removed from the earth. But I was less concerned with that and more concerned with me being responsible for somebody losing their freedom or losing their life by the cops. I was more concerned about that than I was concerned about myself because I thought I could handle myself. But we all know there's no such thing as handling somebody who got a gun on you. What I'm saying is I've been in similar circumstances where I had to make a judgment call. And I was just fortunate not to be in a situation like this. But this is what a guy downstairs was wrong. If you're leaving your house with a gun, you don't need to leave your house. Now, what's one thing if you're traveling somewhere and you just, hey, you got to go somewhere and you're like, that's what you do. You travel armed. I get that. But if you're going to a situation or if you're going to a situation where you got to deal with someone and you got to take a firearm with you, that's everything in life telling you. I don't know if you're a godly person or a higher power person, whatever, but that's something, that's a force telling you ain't supposed to go. The fact you gotta bring that to go up there, that means you ain't supposed to go. The fact that you're so angry that you feel that you need to bring this with you, that means you ain't supposed to go up there. What else can God do? God can't make the gun disappear, make it fall out your pocket. This ain't an after school special. Well, all of a sudden the gun don't work no more, the gun missing. Where's the gun go? See, God's trying to send you a sign. The sign was you are pissed off, angry, probably shaking mad, and already worked out in your head that you're going to shoot somebody. When you already at that stage, it's up to you to back away from the cliff. I know multiple people, man, who was going to handle the situation, they took a gun with them and it didn't turn out well. Their life was forever altered because they took their gun with them and they did not need to do it. They could have made a different choice. This man took that gun with all intents and purposes. It may even be considered premeditated. And it's the punkest of all punk moves to shoot somebody in the back who's trying to get away from you. So I see a lot wrong, a lot in this situation that's totally out of pocket and cowardly. It's cowardly to shoot a man multiple times while they lay on the ground. It's cowardly to shoot a 27-year-old son of an upstairs neighbor. I don't care what the bad blood was. I don't know what happened in the past. I don't care. It's cowardly to empty 9 shots into 2 unarmed people over noise, over music, over someone walking too heavy or stomping or whatever was going on. I have no idea what's going on in that apartment. At the time of this was yesterday, October 31st, it said no arrests had been made. The wife says, my son is a good boy, he's not violent. My husband has no gun, no weapon. Why would you bring your gun to shoot my family? Why would you bring a gun to tear my family apart? The family, originally from Haiti, downsized from a larger apartment, which was an adjustment for the younger children. So she's got a 10-year-old, at least one 10-year-old that witnessed it. It was outside the door. It was probably the other kids making noise. Kids being loud. Here's the thing, folks. If you feel like you can't deal with noise in an apartment, that's when you got to go buy a house. I fought the guy downstairs. Look, man, if you have neighbors with kids, kids gonna make noise. Kids are gonna make noise. If you got a problem with that, it's time to move. Now, I know that's easier said than done, but what I'm saying is if you live in an apartment, you don't get peace and quiet. That ain't part of the lease. That ain't part of the environment. That's not part of reality. You're going to have some noise. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you live. If you live in an apartment and there's kids in those apartments, you're going to hear noise, you're going to hear crying, or you're going to hear some stomping, some toys, you're going to hear something. And if you don't expect that to happen, you don't live on Earth. And if you can't deal with that and you got to go get a gun, that means your ass need to go get a house. You need to go get a mortgage or rent. You can go rent a house. I don't care how you get it. Go be a squatter. That's a whole nother issue, but you need to be somewhere else. Go get a tent and put it in the middle of the forest. There you go. Go get a tent. Put it in the forest. You'll have no neighbors up on top of your head then. Just birds and environment. But see, now you're going to jail for life. Now you're going to jail for 20 years probably over a stupid situation that could have been avoided. Now it's a wrap. What was I going to say? Let's say something else. I had a couple experiences, man. Couple experiences. If you got neighbors that are loud, if you got a neighbor that you don't get along with, they shouldn't even know it. Nah, because you know what? The same way you at work and you know how to act a certain way to keep your job, that's how you're supposed to act with neighbors that you don't even like. You're supposed to act the same way. Hey, how you doing, man? All right, man. See how easy that is? Oh, for real? Okay, no problem. Because, see, you don't know them like that. Oh, man, that's fake. That's phony. That's how you live. That's how you survive. That's how you avoid going to penitentiary for 20 years. That's how you avoid leaving your wife a widow. You want to be real and dead? or reeling in jail, or you want to be alive and moving up out of there. I got one more piece, I'm going to tell you this, and this goes for anybody listening that's in a similar situation. When I finally started making enough money where I could get us up out of the hood, that part of the hood, which is a pretty violent like location, like potentially. When I finally started making enough money where I was comfortably able to get us a crib in a different location, where I wouldn't have upstairs neighbors, I had to make a decision. Y'all. Because see, I was starting to make enough money where I could do that. And I remember like it was yesterday, I was trying to decide. Mrs. Black don't even know. I was trying to decide if I wanted to move us or if I wanted to stack some more paper. Yeah, I was like really like, we could just tough it out one more year. We tough it out one more year, I have X amount of dollars in the bank, we'll be good. But I was looking at that neighborhood and I was thinking, man, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want my son around this. At the time, my son was like 8. I guess he was around 8 years old. Maybe 9. 8, 9. It's like I don't know if I want my son in this area, man. This is an area, anything can happen at any time. If there was a shooting and someone shot and they went in our building, people are like, yeah, that happens so around here, you know what I'm saying? Wouldn't nobody be surprised? If you live in a neighborhood and anything can happen and people be like, yeah, man, that's what happened around here. You know, not even shocked. If you live in a neighborhood where if you go outside and your car gone, nobody's like, wow, for real? They just like, yeah, man, that's messed up, man. I got my cousin last week. That's when you know you don't need to live around there. You know what I'm saying? What I'm trying to tell you, that was a neighborhood that was so bad, when bad things happen, when nobody shot, they were just glad it wasn't them. They was glad it was someone else's turn. You get what I'm saying? So I had to decide. I said, Tim Black, do you want to live around here and stack this paper one more year? Or you want to take your money, you got enough to leave, just leave now, and you'll put some more away later. But what decision are we going to make? And I decided that we was going to tough it out and stay one more year because I had to put that paper up, baby. Shoot, you think I'm crazy? We stayed in it that long. We can do another year. Shoot, I ain't soft. Nah, we left. We left, y'all, we left. I got us up out of there quick, fast, as soon as I could. Because one thing I did not want is that on my conscience, that I could have left us up out of that spot, but I didn't do it because I wanted to be able to buy big rims or something, or I wanted to have more money in the bank so I could do something else, whatever. I said, nah, we get up out of here. We get up out of here. At that time, Chase wasn't even here yet. So this was a while. This is a while ago. So, yeah, man. Once again, my condolences to the family. This is horrible stuff. I wish it hadn't happened. This guy who shot this father and son, I'm not excusing him at all. He going to jail forever. But what I'm saying is, that ain't enough. How is it enough when he killed a father and a son when it could have been all avoided? It doesn't even matter who's right or wrong. The effect is so detrimental, no one even cares who was wrong. That don't matter. Sometimes people get caught up on, man, I'm right, you wrong, you right, I'm wrong. I'm wrong, you right, no, you wrong, they get into this. Nah. The outcome, the effect, the outcome, the blowback, the repercussions are so detrimental. It don't matter who wrong. It don't matter who right. Just get gone. Let it go. And sometimes, some things gotta be let go, man. Gotta let go. You got no choice. So I hope somebody listening understands that neighbor that you don't get along with, bury that hatchet. Let it go, man. Be the bigger person. You don't want drama where you rest your head. You don't want drama where your children stay. You don't want drama in your home. A man that can swallow his pride and do what's best for his family. A woman that can swallow her pride and do what's best for her family. Now that's the type of person, right, that you gotta respect. That's a person of courage. That's a stand-up individual. That's a righteous brother or sister. But somebody who's vanity or ego, well, they'll make the wrong call just to make themselves feel like they're the man or the woman or whatever. They're living on borrowed time.
Tim Black's Black Table streams Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Feel the power of the news with us.